If you want to succeed in building a bootstrap SaaS business in 2026, here's why you need to first become what everyone is now referring to as a product builder. If you haven't heard the term yet, what it basically is a product manager plus designer plus engineer. 3 roles, 1 person. That used to take a team, but in 2026 with AI, it's 1 bootstrapper. LinkedIn even renamed their entire PM training program around this. The biggest tech companies in the world are restructuring around it as well, and it's going to build the most successful SaaS companies of the next decade. In this video, I want to explain to you the toolkit and the skills that you need to become a product builder yourself. Before we get into it, let me set the table. The traditional way to build software has always included at least 3 distinct roles. Product manager who figures out what to build, a designer who figures out how it should look and feel, an engineer who figures out how to make it real. 3 separate skill sets, 3 separate hires, 3 separate paychecks, 3 separate sets of meetings, handoffs, and inevitably many miscommunications. The PM writes the spec and then gives it to the designer. The designer makes mock-ups and gives them to the engineer. The engineer builds and ships back for the PM to review. And each handoff is a potential loss in translation. Each role waits on the previous one. The whole pipeline can only move at the speed of the slowest seat. This is how SaaS was built for nearly 2 decades. And it worked if you had VC money to fund a team, but if you didn't, you were probably stuck because you had to instead be just one of those roles, and you had to find or hire the other 2. That alone is why most bootstrap solo founders historically failed before they even got a product out the door. The team math just didn't work for them. But here's the punchline. That whole model is now relatively obsolete in 2026. The 3-seat team is no longer a requirement to ship great software. AI has changed the math and the economics. Product builder is the one person carrying all 3 of those skill sets in one head. So the same person who interviews the customer also sketches the screens. Same person who sketches those screens also writes the code. The handoff distance is now 0. There's no waiting, there's no miscommunication. There's no, the engineer didn't quite understand these specs. You are the specs, the mock-up, and the code all at once now. What's different in 2026 is that AI now does a huge percentage of the technical execution under each of those 3 hats. AI helps you research and prioritize like a PM. AI helps you mock up, polish, and iterate like a designer. AI helps you ship work and code like an engineer. You don't have to be world-class at any one role. You have to be good enough at all 3 to know what to ask for, evaluate comes back, and make decisions across the stack. That's the unlock, and it isn't theoretical. LinkedIn renamed their Associate Product Manager program to Product Builder precisely because it sees it as the future. Google is moving their product managers into technical staff groups. Open product engineering roles are up over 50%. The biggest tech companies in the world have already pivoted toward this. The question is whether or not you are ready for this industry shift. Let me be more specific about why this is possible now and wasn't 2 years ago. 3 things in particular have converged. 1. AI coding tools got real. Codex, Claude Code, agentic coding workflows, MCP integrations, the technical execution barrier has fallen through the floor. You can ship production code on day 1 without a CS degree. 2. Design tools got real. Lovable, V0, Claude Design. You can go from a sketch on a napkin to a polished UI prototype in an afternoon. Designers used to be a difficult hire for bootstrappers, but now you have an entire design studio in your browser. And 3. AI research and writing tools got real. Claude and ChatGPT can compress hours of competitive research into minutes. They can help you synthesize customer interviews. They can draft your roadmap. They can write your pricing page. The PM-style strategic thinking has been augmented significantly. When all 3 of those collapse, you get a moment where one person with the right toolkit and the right mindset can do what used to take a small startup team. That moment is right now. 2 years from now, everyone will be doing this. The bootstrappers who start doing it today are going to have a massive head start. Let me break down what each role means in 2026, and we'll start with the PM hat. Here's what a PM has to be able to do. Find a real problem worth solving. Talk to customers and extract signal from noise. Prioritize the right things. Write clear specs that you and your AI can both work from. Hold the whole roadmap in your head and make those trade-offs. What the AI does for you. Claude or ChatGPT can synthesize hours of customer interview transcripts into themes in minutes. They can draft PRDs from your raw notes. They can stress test your prioritization by playing devil's advocate. They can pull competitive research that used to take a week and give you a usable summary in 20 minutes. What you still own. The customer relationships, the judgment calls about what matters, and the willingness to say no to features. AI cannot say no for you. That part is still on you. The skills to focus on. Customer interviewing, problem framing, prioritization frameworks, writing clear specs that an AI can act on, That's a real skill set now, separate from writing specs for human engineers. Now let's talk about the designer hat, and this is the one that bootstrappers most underestimate. As a designer, you have to be able to think about the user experience, not just the user interface. Understand information hierarchy. Know when a layout feels right and when it doesn't. Have taste, which is the unsexy word for knowing what looks professional and what looks like a junior side project. What the AI does for you. Lovable, V0, and Claude Design let you describe a screen in words and get a working styled prototype back. The AI features let you generate variations and iterate faster than any human designer ever could. You can A/B test mockups with customers in the time it used to take to brief a designer. What do you still own? Taste, judgment, and the customer empathy that drives design decisions. AI can produce 100 mockups, but you have to know which one is right. That's the human skill. The skills to focus on. Information hierarchy, layout fundamentals, color theory at a basic level, the principle of progressive disclosure, writing UI copy, and critically, the ability to look at an AI-generated UI and immediately spot what's off about it. That last one is hard to teach, but it's what separates a product builder from someone who just ships AI slop. And then the engineer hat. This is what I talk about probably the most on this channel, but it will be good to review. What an engineer has to be able to do. Ship working code to production. Pick the right stack. Understand enough system design to not paint yourself into corners. Debug your own mistakes when the AI gets it wrong. Know when to trust the agent and when to take the keyboard back. What the AI can do for you. Codex, Claude Code, agentic flows, MCP servers, automated testing, context engineering. The agent writes the code, runs the tests, and loops until green. Then only bothers you when the feature is working and ready for your review. What you still own. Architecture decisions, code review, security judgment, and the discipline to keep the AI inside the guardrails through agents or Claude.md files and similar policy limitations. Vibe coding will get you the demo, but context engineering gets you the real product. The skills to focus on. Stack literacy. Know what tools to grab for which job. Policy file authoring, which are the guardrails for your agents. Reading code, even if AI writes most of it. Debugging, production deployment basics, database fundamentals, and the discipline of testing, both the agent's automated tests and your own manual verification. So what's the actual toolkit? Well, here's what I run as a product builder right now. Each one is doing the job of what used to be a full role by itself. For the PM side, Claude or ChatGPT for research, synthesis, and writing. A simple markdown doc for the roadmap. A spreadsheet for prioritization scoring if you want to be more formal about it. For the designer side, Lovable or V0 for going from idea to working prototype fast. Claude Design for quick UI experiments or when you need to iterate on real design with a team or advisor feedback. For the engineering side, Codex or Claude Code for the heavy build work. Something like Playwright MCP Server for automated browser testing. Supabase, Railway, Vercel for database and hosting infrastructure. Agents or Claude.md to keep your agent inside the guardrails. For connective tissue across all three, a clean local dev environment. A context file that any AI can read to onboard my project instantly. A regular customer feedback loop, and the discipline to switch hats deliberately rather than always defaulting to the one I'm most comfortable with. This is an expensive toolkit. Most of it is free or under $50 a month. Compare that to hiring a PM, a designer, and an engineer, and the cost difference is dramatic. Tools are easy, but the skills are what compound. So if you want to become an effective product builder this year, here are the 5 skills you need to focus on developing further. 1. Customer interviewing. Without it, you build the wrong thing no matter how fast the AI is. This is the foundation. 2. AI prompting and context engineering. Treat your prompts like code. Treat your context files, Claude and agents.md, like your operating system. The product builders who win at scale are the ones whose AI orchestration is structured, not vibe coded. 3. Design taste. You don't have to be an artist. You have to be able to look at a UI and know whether it's any good. Study screenshots of great products and use them as the standard. 4. Architecture awareness. You don't have to be an expert at software engineering, but know enough to identify when the AI is about to paint you into a corner. The difference between code that lasts 6 months and code that lasts 6 years lives here. 5. Switching hats, and deliberately. The single failure mode of product builders is retreating to the hat that they're most comfortable with. If you came from design, you'll over-design and under-ship. If you came from engineering, you'll likely under-research and over-build. If you came from PM, you'll spec endlessly, but you'll never code. Notice your retreat and force the discipline. Master those 5, the tools change every quarter, but the skills compound into a successful career. So why does the product builder skill stack matter more than any other specialist role going forward? And those reasons include because 0 handoffs is faster than the most efficient team. Because 1 head holding the full picture beats 3 heads holding a third of it. because the most successful software companies of the next decade are going to be built by people who can think in customer outcomes, design experiences, and ship working software, all without a translator in between. Now, VC-backed startups can throw a team at it. They still will, but the product builder armed with AI can match or exceed that team's output as a solo founder. That is the most asymmetric advantage in software right now, and you need to use it. If you could use some help getting your SaaS off the ground, check out the free tools I've built at bootstrappersparadise.com, which include a problem finder, an idea validator, and a pricing calculator. And if you want my help with your specific project, check out my private coaching program, also available at bootstrappersparadise.com, and I'll link to both in the descriptions below. Remember, the best way to increase your chances of SaaS success as a bootstrap founder is to become an effective product builder.